This is the people's playoff, not the committee, not the suits, not the booster group chat, the people. And the people are tired of bye-week arrogance and will flip the switch.
4 games, 8 brands, 1 national mood swing. If you think this is just bowls, you're about to get emotionally mugged.
And we're making picks with consequences.
Real consequences.
This is so stupid. If I win, I get a mani-pedi and a tiny cross tattoo on my ring finger.
If I win, Lee gets a quarter of a hamburger.
No,
Cheese.
that's not a bet. That's a hate crime.
Welcome to the quarterfinals. Welcome back to the show. I'm Michael, and before Lee turns this into a gorgeous spreadsheet sermon with charts and spite, let's put facts on the table. This is not the old bowl season. This is year 0. Rosters built like NFL front offices, the portal window sitting there like a ticking time bomb, and NIL money moving like weather systems. And if you think the biggest storyline is who wants it more, well, I'm here to remind you, who wants it more usually means who wins the trenches, finishes in the red zone, and doesn't donate turnovers like it's Giving Tuesday. Now, Lee is the spreadsheet queen. She is nerdy in a way that should probably require a permit. I respect it. I fear it. But I'm here to be the bouncer at the door like, ma'am, your vibes need an ID. Because look at the slate. You have the Orange Bowl, Oregon versus Texas Tech, a.k.a. NIL heavyweights. Texas Tech catches smoke all season for allegedly building a roster that costs north of $28 million. This is the sports saying the quiet part out loud. Then you have the Rose Bowl, Indiana as the number 1 seed. That sentence still feels illegal. Mendoza steady, turnover margin insane, and now they face Alabama as a number 9 seed underdog. Another sentence that used to be illegal. And then you have the Sugar Bowl, Georgia versus Ole Miss, and the headliner isn't a player. It is the headset. Stability versus chaos, machine versus emotion. And lastly, you have the Cotton Bowl, Miami, our backyard, versus Ohio State, the 2002 rematch energy that still lives in the people's group chats. Ohio State has the NFL light roster. Miami has history in its teeth. And yes, we're making picks with stakes. If Lee wins, I'm paying for her mani/pedicure and funding a tiny cross tattoo in her ring finger. Now, if I win, Lee gets a quarter of a hamburger. I believe that's supposed to say a double quarter hamburger, actually, which feels like a federal sentence for her personally. For those that don't know, she's not the biggest fan of beef. So here's my promise. I'm keeping this grounded: weather, turf, bye week, rust versus rest, red zone, turnovers, roster build, ring versus paycheck. And Lee's going to bring the nerd brilliance, the narrative heat, and whatever I saw it in their eyes, prophecy she cooked up. Let's get into it.
Welcome back to the show. And yes, Michael just tried to fax you into submission, which is classic. Here's my problem. Football is not a lab experiment. It's not played on a spreadsheet, as much as I love them. It's played in pain, tolerance, in focus, in who's willing to be embarrassed on national TV and still run into the A gap. And this year, the spot is different. The sport is different. This is professional era college football. Revenue share, NIL clearinghouses, portal windows opening basically as soon as the confetti hits the ground. This is grown-up football with teenage emotions. While the analytical experts were busy looking at data points, I was looking at heart. I was looking at eyes. I was looking at history that refuses to stay buried. Call it female intuition. Call it a gut feeling. I really don't care. I know what happens when you give a group of grown men 21 days to get soft, to get cocky, and to start thinking about their NIL checks instead of their assignments. The bye week curse is real, and it's about to claim some victims. So let's talk about Miami, which is where we live, right? People say Ohio State has the NFL light roster. Michael just said that, and I agree, but I say Miami has a 23-year-old grudge that's finally ready to explode. I live here. You can actually see it in the community newspapers and all of that. People remember the flag on that play, right? And with Michael Irvin's spirit in that locker room, you think Ohio State is ready for that kind of heat after 3 weeks of Columbus snow? I say no chance. So, and while we're talking about billionaire bowls in the Orange Bowl, Give me Texas Tech and Cody Campbell all day. You can keep your woke Nike money and Phil Knight's Oregon track stars. I'm a Texas girl. I know what happens when West Texas steel meets Beaverton silk. You can't speed your way out of a punch to the mouth. So look at Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin thought he could just pack his bags for Louisiana and leave a mercenary squad behind to rot. He underestimated the power of spite. I don't underestimate the power of spite. There is no bond stronger than a team that's been betrayed. Georgia is walking into a hornet's nest in New Orleans. I don't care what the facts and the numbers say, and they're too arrogant to see it coming. And I lived in Georgia for many years as well, so I have hometown roots there too, but I still say it's going to be Ole Miss. And Indiana, they're the only ones I'm agreeing with the experts and Michael on, not because of the stats. It's because, honestly, the world's tired of Alabama. The momentum is in Bloomington. The magic is with Mendoza. And the Bama fatigue, quote unquote, has finally reached its breaking point. Michael's going to tell you what should happen. I'm going to tell you what happens when humans show up with ego, money, pressure, and unfinished business. So let's talk quarterfinals. And Michael, you keep your facts and I'll keep the winners.
No, ma'am. The winners are right on over here with me. That's right.
All right. Well, welcome to the People's Playoff.
Quick format note. We'll hit each game with matchups, pressure points, and what matters late. And yes, we're tracking who had the bye because rest is real and rust is also real.
And for our on-screen friends, whenever we say a football term, you'll see it highlighted and there'll be a definition card over to the side because I refuse to gatekeep football vocabulary. That's nasty work.
Also, a quick structural note. In this format, the top seeds had byes.
Exactly. So our bye teams are Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas Tech. That matters because the other 4 teams are coming in with momentum. They already had to survive to be here.
And here's the year 0 NCAA V-House part. Portal window opens right after these games. You're playing football while the sport is whispering, free agency starts in 5 minutes.
It's like trying to focus on your wedding vows while your ex texts you up.
That was weirdly accurate.
I know, right? All right, so we need to explain the nerd engine behind this episode because yes, I made a spreadsheet. It was a beautiful one, and it was based on 5 criteria. So
she made criteria like this is a lab.
Well, because it works, even if I didn't go with what the criteria said. So here are the 5 criteria. This is our if you win 3 of 5, you control the game model. So the first of the criteria is the trenches. Second is explosive plays, and you should be seeing the definition of all these over on the side. The third is the red zone touchdown percentage. And this is really important because we do have a team, as we get into this later, that just likes to kick field goals and doesn't like to actually do touchdowns. So that's where the red zone touchdown percentage comes in. Then 4 is the turnover margins, and 5 is special teams. Special teams are important, and I think they're going to play a big role in these games.
That's the entire game. That's literally the sport.
Okay, so if you look to the side while we're talking for the next little bit, it'll show our sheet ranks for the quarterfinal teams. This is for each of these 5 criteria we just talked about, 1 to 8. This is our board, but obviously this is all speculation. Nothing's written in stone. And equally obvious as we go through this podcast is I'm veering off of it. So here's the plot twist. Like I just said, I made the criteria and then I watched the past games and I threw most of it out when the vibes screamed upset.
Of course you did.
Meanwhile, Michael embraced it like a bedtime routine.
Because it's consistent. It's boring. It wins.
It's a tax attorney's dream. Predictable, documented, painfully correct.
Well, thank you. And if you're listening like a normal person, the takeaway is this. Georgia and Ohio State have the most no excuses profiles.
And the takeaway for me, I guess that means I'm not a normal person,
Nope.
is numbers don't account for a grudge.
Grudge is not a category.
It's a lifestyle. All right, let's start with the Cotton Bowl. Indoors, controlled climate, but don't get it twisted. It's so weird to me that it's indoors. When I used to go to the Cotton Bowl, it was outdoors at the Fair Park grounds, but whatever. So, but don't get it twisted. Speed plays fast on artificial turf. And AT&T Stadium surface is Hellas Matrix turf. This is a track with shoulder pads.
Which means footing is consistent. Cuts are sharper, and defensive backs, if your eyes are wrong, your ankles are gone.
Translation, Miami corners, please don't turn this into an interpretive dance.
Now, Ohio State had the bye as a top seed. Miami did not. The question is, do you come out rested or do you come out sleepy?
And Miami is coming in with, we've already been punched energy. Sometimes that's dangerous. We have to talk about the proverbial ghost in the stadium, though, because the narrative, well, it's the narrative here. Miami, Ohio State is forever stapled to the national title game from the 2002 season that was played at the Fiesta Bowl, where Miami fans still hear a whistle in their nightmares.
Here's the clean version. Overtime. Ohio State throws to the corner of the end zone on a key play. The ball hits the ground and Miami thinks it's over. Then a late pass interference flag comes out, giving Ohio State new life, and they win 31-24 in double overtime.
Miami fans will tell you it was a phantom. Ohio State fans will tell you it was obvious. And I'm going to tell you that argument has survived longer than some celebrity marriages.
And the reason it matters, emotion changes risk tolerance. Coaches call different plays, players press, and that's how turnovers happen.
Now the spicy part, the traitor wide receiver.
Local kid became the enemy.
Exactly. Ohio State star wide receiver Jeremiah Smith. Miami Gardens roots. He's wearing the scarlet and gray. Miami fans treat this like a family dispute with shoulder pads.
Now, it's not illegal, but it is emotionally reckless.
And our personal angle, Michael and I live here now. We're not guessing what Miami energy feels like. We can literally walk outside and hear somebody arguing about the hue at a gas station.
Facts.
Also, let's pay homage. Miami's wide receiver history is ridiculous. Michael Irvin is one of the spiritual ancestors of Miami receiver swagger.
Miami's brand at receiver is confidence that borders on performance art.
And that's why this matchup matters. Ohio State is structured, yes. Miami is pride. This is a chess versus street fight with choreography. So here are the keys to the game.
Key number 1, Miami cannot live in third and long. If you're constantly behind the sticks, you're asking for sacks and desperation throws.
Key number 2, Ohio State has to handle Miami's early down pressure and not get cute. Miami wants havoc, tackles for lost, forced fumbles, and tipped balls.
Key number 3, red zone. In playoff games, the red zone is where the underdogs either become legends or become almosts.
Yes. Key number 4 is composure, because this game is going to have a moment where somebody gets reminded of 2002 and loses their mind.
And by criteria, Ohio State wins trenches plus special teams profile. Miami's edge is turnovers and emotional tempo. Now let's look at rings versus receipts. Who is playing for what?
Yes, let's talk motivation without accusing anybody of being a cartoon villain.
Right. We don't know hearts, but we do know incentives.
So Ohio State is built for titles. This is finish the job football. Miami is playing with the power of spite and history, and sometimes spite is a performance enhancer. So on our Mercenary meter, right, for this game, Ohio State, 3 out of 10. They have young stars and logo energy. Miami is 6 out of 10. They have a big money quarterback narrative and prove it vibes.
And that doesn't mean anyone's a villain. It means pressure is different. So now for the predictions for the Cotton Bowl. Prediction A, Ohio State controls it, wins by 10 to 14 points. Feels like a vice grip after halftime.
Prediction B, Miami keeps it ugly into the fourth. 1 turnover, 1 short field, 1 explosive, and suddenly you're sweating in Columbus.
Prediction C, low scoring in the first half, and then one team scores twice in 90 seconds, and it's over.
And that's the one. That's the football is cruel script. And on that note, what's your official pick, Michael?
Well, here's the narrative. This is the business trip. Ohio State's roster has been built with surgical precision to win exactly this type of game. And then you have the X factor. Arvell Reese, the future top 5 pick will live in Miami's backfield. While Carson Beck is talented, he struggles when the pocket integrity fails. And OSU's DL is a bit of a meat grinder. So my final score projection, Ohio State 31, Miami 17. And why? I'll tell you. OSU controls the first down, trenches, and forces Miami into third and longs. Jeremiah Smith scores twice, and Miami's Mercenary offense can't find a rhythm in the cold North Texas air.
I'm taking Miami. Why? Well, because of the grudge factor. Miami hasn't forgotten the 2003 Fiesta Bowl. While Ohio State has meticulous preparation, Miami has raw emotion. Also, there's the Carson Beck revenge. Beck was pushed out of the SEC spotlight. Playing against a Big Ten giant is his chance to prove he's the alpha quarterback of the 2026 draft. Also, there's the rest factor, which is huge for me. Ohio State hasn't played a meaningful snap in 21 days. Miami is coming off a high-intensity first-round win. In the first quarter, Miami will be at full speed, while OSU will still be finding their game legs. My prediction, so remember, Michael's is Ohio State 31, Miami 17. Mine is Miami 27, Ohio State 24. How they win? A late strip sack by Reuben Bain Jr. on a rusty OSU offensive line is what's going to seal it.
If Miami wins, I'm going to need you to stop talking about ghosts for a whole week.
If Miami wins, I'm going to talk to the ghost directly. Noon on New Year's Day is such a sicko kick time.
It's the we woke up and so stressed slot.
So the storyline here is money versus money, right? Texas Tech is a headline because of the alleged $28 million roster. That's not a rumor, actually. At this point, it's a vibe with a budget line item.
The controversy is simple. Texas Tech is the case study for can you buy your way into a top seed?
And Oregon is actually the other case study. What if your biggest booster is literally Nike adjacent mythology?
Exactly. This isn't poor versus rich. This is rich versus rich with different accents. And this is perfect weather. No wind, nor rain, clean footing that favors the team that can create explosives and finish drives.
So translation, if you can score in 2 plays, this is your holiday.
And it also punishes field goal tendencies.
Which Tech fans don't love hearing because Tech can move the ball and then they get allergic to touchdowns. They have always been that way.
Well, thank you for finally admitting reality.
I said can, not will. So let's talk about if Tech rested or rusted. Tech had the bye, and the bye is either a spa day or a nap you don't wake up from until the second quarter.
The bye helps bodies. It helps game planning. It helps defensive recovery.
It also helps overconfidence. And you know who gets overconfident?
Everyone.
Men.
There it is.
A quick human story note here, though. Texas Tech linebacker Jacob Rodriguez, he's a married student athlete. His wife is a Black Hawk pilot, which I think is super cool. That's real life pressure.
And Oregon's Dylan Gabriel using NIL to give back. That's a different kind of leadership.
And that matters in year 0 of all of this NIL stuff because money without purpose gets weird fast.
So how about the ring versus Monday angle here?
Well, Tech is full of this is our last ride energy. Oregon has lots of guys playing for proof. Proof this isn't just track speed. Proof this works in January.
Also, this matchup is pure red zone math. If Tech keeps trading touchdowns for field goals, Oregon will win.
Yeah. If Tech turns this into a brawl, though, and forces turnovers, Oregon's speed doesn't matter because you can't run fast while you're punting. So the mercenary meter for this game, Texas Tech is 7 out of 10. Assembled roster, prove the spend energy. Oregon's 5 out of 10. Portal plug and play, but it's got a stable staff.
Tech feels like assembled. Oregon feels like developed plus upgrades. So now let's talk about the keys to the game. Key number 1, the trenches. If Tech's offensive line wins, everything else gets easier.
Key number 2 is Oregon's defense. It is discipline, right? If Oregon keeps the gap integrity, Tech won't get the cheap explosives.
Key number 3, quarterback comfort. We're watching pressure rate. How often you force the QB to move off of his spot.
And key number 4, actually here is coaching. Dan Lanning had the steadier playoff pacing. Tech has to prove they can handle the emotional tempo of basically a semifinal audition. But I'm still taking West Texas Steel over Beaverton Silk. I don't care.
That's not analysis. That's just poetry.
Well, football is poetry with concussions, Michael.
Again, that's wild. But sure, fair enough. And now it's picks time, and I lean towards Oregon. Perfect conditions plus explosive ceiling. And I trust Oregon to finish drives more consistently. Now, the narrative, the billionaires track meet. With no wind to slow them down in Miami, this becomes a pure speed contest. The X factor, Dante Moore's verticality. Did I say that right? Verticality?
Yes.
All right. Texas Tech's number 1 rushing defense is irrelevant if Moore is throwing 40-yard bombs over their heads. Tech's field goal problem in the red zone comes back to haunt them. And the final score projection, Oregon 41, Texas Tech very closely behind, 35. Why? Because Tech keeps it close because of their plus 1.3 turnover margin. But Oregon's special teams and red zone efficiency provide the winning margin.
I am taking Tech. And not just because I'm from Texas. Actually was accepted to Texas Tech a long time ago. Basically, the logic is Texas Steel versus Oregon Silk. You have the Cody Campbell edge, which if you haven't yet, take a listen to our Ball and Play podcast that came out on Saturday, all about Cody Campbell and his SaveCollegeSports.org initiative. In Tech, you have the Cody Campbell edge. Campbell's $28 million investment didn't just buy talent, it bought the trenches. Tech has the number 1 rushing defense. Then we've got Nike soft spot. Oregon is built for speed on a dry track, but they can be out physical it's not a word. They can be out physical if Tech makes this a dirt under the fingernails game. Oregon's flashy wide receivers will disappear. So, and then, there is the Texas girl advantage. Tech fans are the most unhinged in the best way possible. We used to call it the party school, right? They will turn that Miami Stadium into Lubbock East. And those of you who know what that means, know what it means. So, prediction, Texas Tech 34, Oregon 31. How they win, Tech wins the trenches and stops Oregon on crucial 4th and goal by simply being the meaner team in the red zone.
You're basically betting on chaos as a lifestyle.
Michael, we live in Miami. Chaos is the HOA.
This is the weirdest line of the year. Alabama is a 9-seed underdog.
It feels like senior teacher at the club.
Exactly. Something is off in the universe.
If it rains, like the forecast says, the Rose Bowl becomes a discipline test. Slick grass, bad footing, the kind of game where one fumble is basically a plot twist.
Rain compresses variance. It reduces speed advantage. It favors teams that don't make mistakes.
I like that line, rain compresses variance. So anyway, this is Indiana's whole identity. We do not beat ourselves.
And it also tests the bye. Indiana's bye is either rest or rust on a wet surface.
It's rest. Indiana being here, though, is the best story in football. Not because it's cute, but because it's insane. They went from being this is improper grammar, but I'm going to say this word anyway. They went from being the losingest program to number 1.
No, that's appropriate. Winningest is a word, so why isn't losingest a word, too?
It should be the most losing program, but okay. Anyway, go ahead.
Moving on. Mendoza has been surgical. Turnover margin elite. And that's why they're number 1.
And Alabama is still Alabama. The name still walks into the room before the team does.
And that matters for nerves. It just does. So let's talk ring versus Monday.
So Mendoza's in the legacy bucket. Indiana title, that's mythology, that's status.
Now, Alabama has guys who can play for legacy too, but there's always the draft stock factor hovering.
Rain makes business decisions harder because business decision is, do you want to tackle in the mud?
Most people don't.
And the whole business decision thing really irritates me because you shouldn't be thinking about your money or your profitability or how you can be drafted or what your draft pick number is. You should be thinking about the football game and playing football. This didn't used to be a thing. So anyway, the Mercenary index for this. So if you're playing for the ring and not the money, that changes things. So the Mercenary meter, Indiana's 2 out of 10, meaning they're playing for the ring, right? Culture, purpose, this is legacy. Alabama, 5 out of 10, the blue chip pipeline, and the draft shadow.
That's fair.
So how about the keys to the game, sir?
Key number 1, Indiana's turnover margin. If they keep winning the ball, they keep the dream alive.
Key number 2 is Alabama's athlete advantage, especially in space. Indiana cannot miss tackles in the flats.
Key number 3, Indiana cannot go down early. If Bama gets up 2 scores, Indiana has to abandon balance and become predictable.
And key number 4 is nerve, because Alabama has lived here. Indiana is visiting. And now it's picks time. Oh, but wait, first let's do a little human interest story here.
All right, let's do it.
Indiana's rise has a real faith and foundation energy. Mendoza is known for giving glory to God and leading prayer. Roman Hemby's community service angle. This is a team that plays like it's connected to something bigger than the scoreboard.
And that can translate into composure. Not always, but often.
It also translates into stand-up young men, one of whom is the Heisman Trophy winner, giving back. So let's go, Michael. Give us your pick for the Rose Bowl.
I'm leaning towards Indiana. In the rain, give me the team that's steady, structured, and allergic to mistakes. Now, here's the narrative. The Mud Bowl masterpiece. If the 75% rain forecast holds, the Rose Bowl turf will be a slip and slide. The X factor, Fernando Mendoza's brain. The Heisman winner doesn't make mistakes. Just doesn't. In a rainstorm, the team that doesn't fumble will win. Alabama's speed is neutralized by the surface, and Indiana's Big Ten offensive line takes over. Final projection, I have Indiana at 24, Alabama 20. Close game. And why? Well, it is the grittiest game of the year. The new blood survives. All right. Indiana wins the turnover battle 2-0, and Mendoza leads a legacy-defining 8-minute drive in the fourth quarter to kill the clock.
Indiana wins. This is my one. Okay, fine, Michael. You can have a responsible pick game. Indiana wins, but this is going to be a don't blink game, and Indiana doesn't blink. My logic is the Heisman vibe shift. That's also Bama fatigue. Alabama has the Bama tax, right? Everyone gives them their best shot. Indiana is playing with the joy of a team that wasn't supposed to be here. You also have the Mendoza factor. Fernando Mendoza isn't just a stats guy. He is a leader. In a rainy Pasadena, Bama's 5-star recruits might check out if things get messy. Mendoza won't. My prediction is Indiana 21, Alabama 17, just to be contrary, because Michael's was 24-20. And how they win, Indiana is going to play the boring game perfectly. 0 turnovers. They let Alabama beat themselves with penalties and frustration.
Did you just compliment structure?
Yes. Don't get used to it, though. All right, the Dome, the last game, the one where excuses go to die.
Control conditions favor the machine. And that's Georgia, people.
Unless the machine runs into a team that's emotionally feral.
Are you going to do this again?
Absolutely. Now, Ole Miss enters the biggest game in decades with coaching chaos swirling. Georgia enters as the most stable program in the country.
Stability matters in the postseason. Substitution, situational football, red zone calls, and clock management.
But so does emotion. And sometimes chaos creates a we're all we've got bunker mentality, and I think that's happened here.
Okay, well, sometimes chaos creates penalties, busted assignments, and why is the safety in the parking lot?
Also true. On a human interest note, Ole Miss has a real program legacy. Chucky Mullins tradition, Courage Award energy, community work. Georgia's service leadership is also really great. Youth camps, volunteering. This is not a hollow machine. It's a machine with values.
Which is why Georgia doesn't wobble that easily.
So, Michael, talk to me about Ring versus Monday mentality here and the importance of portal timing.
You got it. Portal window timing matters. Players know the business side is coming immediately after.
Like immediately after, the next day, right? Which is why you watch effort, watch pursuit, watch whether people tackle like it's personal or it's a LinkedIn profile.
That is such a nerdy thing to say.
I'm a tax attorney. What do you expect? So the Mercenary meter here, Georgia, 3 out of 10. It's program energy. Ole Miss, it's 8 out of 10. Portal built volatility and a prove it urgency.
That doesn't mean they won't play hard. It means the emotional wiring is different.
I know, and I'm counting on Ole Miss playing hard. But that's putting the horse before the proverbial cart. So before we get to our picks, how about the keys to the game, Michael?
Key number 1, Georgia simulated pressure. That's where you show blitz, but rush 4 and still confuse protection.
Key number 2 is Ole Miss has to win early downs. If Georgia gets them into obvious passing situations, it's going to become hunting season.
Key number 3, special teams. In domes, return lanes are clean. One busted contain can flip the game.
And key number 4 is who's actually playing for legacy versus who's already mentally packing for the portal window.
All right, pick time. I'm taking Georgia. Controlled environment, stability, red zone efficiency. This is where the machine wins. The narrative, the vacant throne. Ole Miss is a ship without a captain after Lane Kiffin's departure for LSU. The X factor, Kirby Smart's machine. While Ole Miss is dealing with interim coaches and portal rumors, Georgia is a disciplined unit that hasn't missed a beat. And the final projection, bit of a whopper, folks. Georgia 45, Ole Miss 20. And why? Well, Georgia turns this into a statement game. They dominate the red zone, touchdowns on every trip, and exploit the Ole Miss defense's lack of cohesive adjustments. Trinidad Chambliss puts up empty yards, but the outcome is never in doubt.
I'm taking Ole Miss. I know it defies logic, but I am. I feel a little bit guilty because I lived in Georgia for a number of years, but I'm going to flirt with the upset. This is the spite fuel game. If Ole Miss hits explosives early, Georgia's going to have to play outside its comfort zone. The logic for me here is the betrayal bond. It's the us against the world spike. When Lane Kiffin left for LSU, which I have really strong feelings about, he did something I don't think he intended to do. He gave the Ole Miss locker room a common enemy. They aren't playing for a coach anymore. They're playing for each other, and that's powerful. You also have the Georgia arrogance. Georgia is the quote-unquote machine. Machines are great until they run into something they haven't seen before, a team playing with pure spite. And I think you can't underestimate the Trinidad Chambliss factor. He is a Cinderella story. Georgia's defense is built to stop traditional elite players, but Chambliss's backyard football style is a nightmare to script for. So it's going to be close, right? I think, Michael, you had a blowout almost, 45-20, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm predicting Ole Miss 38 and Georgia 35.
Ooh.
So, and how they win, it's going to be a high-scoring shootout where Ole Miss takes the lead late, and Georgia, realizing they're in a dog fight they didn't prepare for, panics in the final 2 minutes.
Your comfort zone is discomfort.
In this instance, you are correct.
Georgia is a slow avalanche.
Yes, and Ole Miss is fireworks.
Fireworks either win the night or they disappear.
But sometimes fireworks can light an avalanche on fire.
That ain't how physics works.
It's how football works. Football is not physics. Football is vibes wearing pads. quick summary of our picks to wrap up here. Keep it snappy, Michael. 1 sentence each. Go.
Quick board, 1 sentence each. Got it. Cotton Bowl, Ohio State. That's what I'm leaning for. Depth plus defensive control. Orange Bowl, Oregon. Explosives plus finishing drives in clean conditions. Rose Bowl, Indiana. Rain plus discipline plus turnover edge. And finally, the Sugar Bowl, Georgia. Machine in the dome.
My board, Cotton Bowl, Miami, if for no other reason than Michael Irvin wills it so. Orange Bowl, Texas Tech, turnover theft. Wow. Turnover theft plus trenches plus last ride energy. Rose Bowl, Indiana.
Yeah.
Just ignore the peanut gallery. Steady beats shiny in the rain. And then the Sugar Bowl, Ole Miss. Explosives plus emotion plus chaos that doesn't care about your resume.
I'm just playing, people.
No, he's not.
Which means the bet is alive.
Mani-pedi and a tattoo or a hamburger tragedy.
And bringing your 5 criteria back, Lee, by the sheet, I have Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana, and Georgia, which exactly matches my picks.
And by the sheet, I should have, well, a calmer personality because my picks do not match the sheet I created, excluding Indiana.
You made the criteria, Lee, and then betrayed that criteria.
I didn't betray it. I audited it and found spite was underreported.
Spite is not GAAP compliant.
No, it is not. I don't know why you had that in mind.
Was that general accounting?
It's GAAP. It's GAAP compliance. General accounting, auditing procedures compliant.
There you go.
Okay. Spite is Miami compliant. And that was a sexy accounting joke, though. I'm impressed.
And people, ignore all the background cinematics. In all seriousness, I do hope that every team plays their hearts out. But again, I have my picks. So do with it what you will.
All right. So the wrap segment here. Let's plan for the new week, right? This week is chaotic because it is basically the Super Bowl of college football content for us over here.
Translation, Lee scheduled our lives like a military operation, which is terrifying, yet effective.
It's true, and I'm still holding out hope that we actually get to go to the Orange Bowl here, which will tweak the plan a little bit more. So here's the plan, date specific. Monday, December 29th, we have a special episode, and you definitely want to watch it because I'm pretty fired up about it. Georgia, Damon Wilson II, and the lawsuits. Oh my goodness. The legal angles, what it means in year 0, and what fans are missing when they reduce all this to just mere drama. This is the death of college football, this lawsuit, what it represents.
Lee brings the law and the drama. I bring the how this hits the locker room and recruiting board reality.
No drama. I'm just bringing legal facts, right? So then Tuesday, December 30th, we've got a fast break, which is actually really cool. It's probably going to be too long for a fast break. It could probably end up being a mini podcast, but it's the history of each of the bowl games that we're going to see. The weird patterns, the myths, and other fun facts that just make watching the games that much more rich.
Wednesday, December 31st, 2025, New Year's Eve, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
We're going to have a fast break immediately after the Cotton Bowl game.
Win or lose, we're going to go fast because the takes will be hot and the receipts will be hotter.
Thursday, New Year's Day, January 1st. 3 fast breaks immediately after each game. The Orange Bowl, Rose Bowl, and the Sugar Bowl.
And if we do get to go to the Orange Bowl, we'll just be doing it, I guess, from the parking lot. Yes. So, yes, it's ambitious. No, we're not negotiating with sleep.
And Friday, January 2nd, didn't mean to cut you off, 2026. We have a fast break plus a blog, reactions, and receipts. Quarterfinal summary plus semi-final setup. Plus, we publicly admit where we were right and where we were humbled.
What he means to say is where I was right and he was humbled. So,
No, the hell I don't.
And we'll be keeping score all week. If I win,
Manny and Pedi and I fund the tiny cross tattoo on the ring finger.
If Michael wins,
oh yeah, Lee has to eat a hamburger, a quarter of a hamburger,
a quarter,
with the camera on to show all the dignity.
I don't know that
That
I'll
she
be
loses.
eating it with dignity, but I will eat it. There will be no dignity, only chewing and regret.
Subscribe for either the tattoo or the trauma.
You're listening to the AAA Ball and Play podcast. Quick note, this is for education and entertainment. Nothing here is legal, tax, or financial advice, and nothing we say creates an athlete-agent relationship. Listening or contacting us does not make us your lawyers or your agents. For advice, talk to a qualified professional in your state.